Sometimes you get to have the conversation slowly. You plan it, you pick the right moment, you sit down together and talk it through like adults. And sometimes your dad falls on a Monday, and by Wednesday, someone from the hospital is asking where he's going when he's discharged. And suddenly, you're making a decision you weren't ready to make about a situation you don't fully understand yet. Either way, you end up in the same place, Googling senior living costs at 11 p.m. and finding numbers that are either terrifying or so vague they're useless. Maybe both. So let's talk about that. Here in New Hampshire, senior living costs more than the national average, but compared to our bordering states, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine, New Hampshire is actually the least expensive of the group. What that means in real dollars for real facilities in the Concord area is what this video covers. We're going to talk about every major level of senior living and what you'll pay for it in the Concord area specifically. Independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and continuing care retirement communities. Real facilities, real numbers, and honest context for what those numbers mean. These numbers come from publicly available data and community-reported pricing. They do change, so before you make any decisions, call the communities directly. I'll put all the names, phone numbers, and links in the description. I'm Hannah. I help older adults and their families plan housing transitions here in New Hampshire. Most of the families I work with come to me before something happens, while there's still time to look around, ask questions, and make a decision that actually fits. What I've seen over and over is that the families who start that conversation early end up with more options, more time, and a lot less panic. Because when you're choosing under pressure, you're not really choosing, you're just reacting. Before I got into housing transitions, I did direct care with older adults living independently in the Concord area. I was in their homes, not just their files. That changes how you look at all of this. The costs matter, the care level matters, but what I'm really trying to help you understand is what your parents' life could look like and what your family's experience of this process could feel like if you go in with enough information to make a real decision instead of a reactive one. If you want to talk through your specific situation with someone before you start calling facilities, there's a link in the description to schedule a conversation with me. No pitch, no fee, just a chance to talk it through. Here's the thing about senior living costs that nobody really prepares you for. It's not one number. It's 5 completely different categories of care, each one designed for a different situation, each one priced accordingly. And most families come into this process thinking of it like renting an apartment. You pick a place, you pay the rent, done. It doesn't work like that. What you're paying for changes depending on how much help your parent needs. And that number can change over time. So the goal today isn't to give you the number, it's to give you enough context that when you call a community and they tell you a number, you understand what you're hearing. Let's start at the beginning of the spectrum. Independent living. This is for seniors who are largely healthy and mobile. They don't need help with daily tasks yet. What they need is to stop managing a house, stop being isolated, and stop worrying about what happens if something changes. You're paying for a community and a maintenance-free life, not care. In the Concord area, independent living is the most affordable tier by a significant margin. White Rock Senior Living in Bow, right at the Concord line, is one of the more affordable options you'll find in central New Hampshire. Restricted income rent starts at $1,162 a month, and market rate starts at $1,900, with all utilities included. I did a full walkthrough of a White Rock condo on this channel, and that video is in the Senior Living Options playlist linked in the description if you want to see what the space actually looks like. Pleasant View Retirement on Pleasant Street in Concord sits on about 43 acres with 72 apartments ranging from efficiency units to 2 bedrooms. Costs start around $1,994 a month and average around $6,497. No nursing services on site, but home health agencies are welcome if a resident needs some support to stay independent. Presidential Oaks, also on Pleasant Street, offers independent living as part of a broader continuum. Units start around $3,100 a month, with all utilities included. It's a nonprofit that has been serving Concord for over 130 years, less than a mile from Concord Hospital. Families very often skip independent living entirely. They wait, things escalate, and suddenly they're looking at assisted living without ever considering whether independent living might have bought a few genuinely good years. If your parent is still healthy, but the house is getting to be a lot, or they're lonely, or they're just starting to feel like something needs to change, this is the tier worth starting the conversation at. When daily tasks start to need support, that's when we move into assisted living territory. Assisted living is for seniors who need help with bathing, dressing, medication management, and meals. You're paying for care staff on top of housing, and the cost reflects that. The average cost for assisted living in the Concord area runs roughly $6,500 to $7,500 a month. The honest answer is that the actual number for your parent depends on an assessment the facility does before move-in. Higher care needs cost more. That's not a surprise, but families are sometimes caught off guard by how much variation there is within a single community. Granite Ledges of Concord is about 3/10 of a mile from Concord Hospital. It offers assisted living and memory care with room types ranging from studios to 2 bedrooms. Reported costs start around $5,000 a month and average around $5,600, which is below the area average. Worth touring if proximity to the hospital and a smaller scale environment matter to your family. Presidential Oaks offers assisted living as part of its full continuum. Estimated starting costs are around $5,400 a month, also below the broader area average. It's Medicaid and Medicare certified, which matters if your parents' financial situation may change down the road. Havenwood Heritage Heights on Christian Avenue offers assisted living starting at $4,800 a month for a 1-room apartment and $8,400 for a 2-room unit for a couple. It sits on 40 acres with miles of paved walking trails. Memory care is where the conversation gets harder and the numbers get bigger. Memory care is specialized assisted living for people living with Alzheimer's, dementia, or other forms of cognitive decline. The environment is secured, the staff is trained, and the cost reflects both of those things. Nationally, memory care runs about 15 to 25% more than standard assisted living. In the Concord area, reported costs range from roughly $8,000 to $13,000 a month, depending on the facility and the level of care required. I want to just stop here for a second because if you're watching this and your parent has already been diagnosed and you're just starting to look at numbers, this is probably the part of the video where your stomach dropped. That's a reasonable response. These are large numbers. What I want you to hold on to is this. The earlier you start planning, the more choices you have. A crisis search for memory care, when something has happened and you need a placement quickly, is one of the most painful things a family can go through. Starting now, even just gathering information, is not pessimistic. Havenwood Heritage Heights has a dedicated memory care unit called Melody Lane. Their published pricing per day runs about $363 for a semi-private room and $420 a day for a private room, which puts the monthly range at roughly $11,000 to $12,800 a month. Memory care is the most expensive residential care option besides skilled nursing, and families are almost always surprised by that number. Granite Ledges also has a dedicated memory care unit with a secured environment and specialized programming. Skilled nursing is the highest level of residential care, and it comes with the most complicated payment picture. Skilled nursing, sometimes called a nursing home, is for people who need around-the-clock medical care. Nationally, the median cost for a private room in a skilled nursing facility is around $10,900 a month. Semi-private rooms run about $9,500. Havenwood Heritage Heights offers skilled nursing and short-term rehabilitation. Their published daily rates range from $351 to $427 a day. Presidential Oaks offers skilled nursing and holds a 4 out of 5 star CMS quality rating, which is above average. Their phone number is in the description if you want to ask about current pricing directly. Now, Medicare. This is the part that trips families up most often. Medicare will cover skilled nursing, but only under specific conditions and only for a limited time. If your parent has a qualifying hospital stay of at least 3 days, Medicare covers the full cost of skilled nursing for the first 20 days. All of it. Days 21 through 100, Medicare requires a daily copay. In 2026, that's $217 a day. After day 100, Medicare stops entirely. At that point, families are paying privately or they're working through Medicaid. That's a longer conversation, and I actually have a video on this channel called Who Pays for Senior Home Care in New Hampshire, and it goes through exactly how Medicaid works for long-term care and what programs exist to help. The link is in the description. CCRCs are the option that families either dismiss right away because of the entrance fee or wish they'd looked at sooner. The model is you pay an entrance fee to secure access to a full continuum of care, from independent living all the way through skilled nursing, for the rest of your life. One community, one relationship, no scrambling if needs change. There is one CCRC in Concord, and it's Havenwood Heritage Heights, a nonprofit spread across 2 campuses sitting on 40 acres. Havenwood, the original campus, has independent living, 2 levels of assisted living, skilled nursing, rehabilitative services, and Melody Lane, their memory care unit. Heritage Heights is all independent living, with the same access to services on a bluff overlooking the city and a tributary of the Merrimack River. Their entrance fee ranges from $55,700 to $244,000. That range reflects unit size and contract type. Monthly fees for independent living range from about $1,640 to $5,025 a month. U.S. News rates Havenwood as high performing for both short-term rehabilitation and long-term care. That's not a marketing line, that's a federal data rating. The financial argument for a CCRC is that if your parent enters while they're still healthy and independent, they pay a predictable monthly fee and never face a situation where a health event forces a panicked search for a memory care bed or a skilled nursing placement. The entrance fee can feel like a wall. For families who have the resources, it's often a form of long-term financial planning. None of these numbers are fixed. They change with care needs, room type, and what the market's doing. Before you make any decisions, call the communities directly. All the names and links and phone numbers are in the description. And if you're sitting with this information and you're not sure what tier even applies to your parent's situation, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can reach me at 603-573-6969 or grab the Calendly link in the description and find a time that works. No pressure, no pitch, no fee, just a conversation. Now that you have a sense of what things cost, the next question most families have is, when I actually visit one of these places, what am I even looking for? What do I ask? What should make me feel good and what should make me feel nervous? That's what we're covering on Friday. Take care of yourself this week. I'll be here when you get back. And $8,400 for a 2-bedroom. Havenwood Heritage starts offering, nope. For a one room. Havenwood Heritage Heights for a 1-bedroom, not 1-bedroom, 1 room, starting at $4,800. Oh, please just say it the right way. 2-room unit for a couple. I can do this. I just have to say it.